Mandy, a film that came out in 2018, directed by Panos Cosmatos, is set in the 1980s, where Nicolas Cage plays a lumberjack kind of figure. He's like a woodcutter, and they live out in the woods. The film itself is a kind of psychological, psychedelic horror. Certainly not a mainstream watch. It's something a bit out there. So Nick Cage's character comes back from a day of working, and he comes back to his woodland home where Mandy is there. She is an artist, which plays heavily into those kind of psychedelic themes. One night Mandy is out walking, returning home from her day job where she works at a petrol station or gas station, and a group of people that are a bit strange spot her and her kind of more unusual look. So the leader of that group asks one of their members to go and find her. The lady quickly finds her and they follow her home. And this cult group summon a group of like demons that are kind of like they're like something straight out of like Hellraiser. And they capture Mandy and Nick Cage, and they take Mandy to the cult leader while Nick Cage is outside being tortured. It is a revenge story. Nick Cage goes on this insane, mad kind of revenge mission, and he attempts to hunt down each individual person in that cult and everybody involved, including the demon figures. The film overall is very much like a classic kind of 80s film. Of course it was set in the 80s, but it's also kind of the premise is like an 80s film. The style is of course very 80s. And it feels like one of those kind of more independent, obscure kind of films that you probably back in the day you'd go into a video store and find on like some old dusty VHS in the corner of the room that maybe some people had forgotten about. But that's said in like a really positive way. That's not said in like a negative way. The film is something different, it's something fresh. It certainly breathed life into Nicolas Cage again. His performance is very good, although of course hammy at times. It does fit in with the overall tone of the movie, so you don't have to kind of, it's not jarring when he goes a bit crazy. There are lots of other inspirations in that the writer and director of the film have clearly drawn from. A significant amount of 80s films, as I say, like Hellraiser is a good example, and generally a lot of like B-movie horror films from that 80s era. Overall, what would I rate this film out of 10? I would say it's a very, very good film. I would say it's like a 9 out of 10. It is very niche. There will be some people that will hate it, and some people that will love it. I certainly fall into the love it category. I think it offers something completely different, whilst being kind of retro and reminiscent of an old style at the same time, and that's really unusual. It's something that I haven't really seen before. So I would say it's certainly worth checking out. Tune in next time where I review the kind of spiritual successor, if you will, Colour Out of Space. Of course also starring Nick Cage and made by the producers of Mandy. So tune in next time to see what I think.